Hello all, I just started recording, right? Um, so I am ready for the recording. So you guys need not be on video, right? So I threw in a jacket to make sure, my vest to make sure that I'm at least decent when it comes to recording. All right, so our purpose today is very, very focused, right? We'll keep it very, very short, right? So I'm looking at two computers, so you might be looking at either or, right? Maybe I'll switch off the video once I share my screen. So basically, I want so we have already initiated one research, and yesterday we decided to initiate the second research. So two research we are trying to kickstart, right? And I'm trying to bring in all my previous documents and everything. And since I have a very strong master's students, right? So I'm feeling confident that along with the actual research, we will be able to start offering a research enrichment program, right? So we will be, and we have a strong support system in Trivandrum. So I will show you a few things where we will. So in next 30 to 45 minutes, I'll run through several documents, and all these documents I will hand over to Sadia and Mosina in next 2-3 days, right? Before I leave, right? So then we will be starting offering the programs, all those things in a structured manner, along with the research. And we are planning to hire more interns at undergrad level, right? I have a 3-4 resumes with me for undergrad level, like DU students and like the students from like in some law institutes, right? In Jindal, right? And I have a couple of applications from high school students, right? So we need to start recruiting those students and strengthen the research team. So we have multiple things along with the research. We need to strengthen our research team, right? And we can start working on a research enrichment course. So it will help us to bring a focus on research. So I'll be sharing some videos which we used to do. So we had this active program based out of Iowa and Mumbai from 2014 to 2019. So all these documents are predated before 2019. After that, we have not done any significant work, even though we did continue with our research, presented the paper and everything, right? And Denver conference in 2020, all those documentations are available. So let me cut short, go into the content. The main purpose of today's work is making a shift from where you are thinking to actual research and research training. So there is a marked difference between a research and a project. A project has a definite start date, a definite end date, and a definite deliverable. Research doesn't have any of these things. So it is basically so I will go with the process then, but we have to delay. We have to rely completely on a scientific approach and trigger our curiosity. So I want to shift from where each one of you are to a kind of right, to bring your mind to that of a researcher who is very, very curious, right? Ask questions, right? And look for evidence and data, right? Nothing else matters. And that spirit and energy we will spread to the new interns whom we are going to recruit, and bring in that spirit and energy of research and scientific thinking to our courses. So this is, and some of these courses which we will be able to bring into like our campus, right? Which we used to do in our Mumbai campus till 2019 pre-COVID. We want to do that in Iowa, which we will try to do that from Trivandrum campus, right? Some in-person learning. on research, right? So this is the in general, and I will argue, I will send you a video later. I will argue that any student, whether you are applying for a PhD program or a master's program or a undergrad program in US and Canada, like research will become a research experience is going to be very critical in the application, in preparing your SOP, and if you have a published paper, it will argue. So that will be one of the incentives to be in the program as a student, you know. So so we have like senior teachers like Kesri ma'am and Anil sir joining us as research officers. They also need to start thinking slightly different than from what their core experiences are and core thinking, that of mainly as a project-based lesson plan oriented work to that of a curious researcher. So that is what I'll be talking. I'll come back to that idea. It's very, very annoying. Like, I'm doing this presentation after a long time. I see that when I raise a hand, the AI is detecting I'm raising a hand, I'm doing something. So it's kind of, so coming to that, like I was looking at the JMM conference, the Seattle conference, main theme, that is math and AI. So I'm thinking about, so I've been working in this area for last 14 to 15 years, and what all things were changed from Apple to Google. Like when I was scrambling around for all the my previous documents, then I realized that I'm at the dinosaur starting work on research pre-iPhone era, then into Google era to intense 5G, 4G. Now we have AI annoying me, right? So, but this is the time when you guys are going to use all these new tools, right? And make it happen, right? But anyway, so like I will share my screen and start my work, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Visible.
Okay, hold on 1 second. So coming to the core process in research, right? So what we have initiated two research, like I explained to you all in yesterday's session. So what we have already asked the question, we did some background research or literature review. So that is a stage in both the research, and then we have constructed or started the process of constructing the hypothesis, right? So that is you can see that on the third column, constructing the hypothesis. That is where we are on both the research, right? Sadia is involved in both. Jayasri ma'am is heavily involved in research one, and you guys are going to be in the committee or tournament program research. So we are working on the hypothesis at this level, right? So we need to look at the the next stage is creating an experiment, which we started thinking about that, and do the actual experiment. So if things are looking good, if hypothesis is tested positive, you will go down and down. It is basic thing, and then we hope that everything goes smoothly and we can communicate our results in two major conferences, WF in November for research, mostly into the research one, and research two will be our first communicating results will be on Seattle JMM conference. Let me share the basic, just to make sure that we are all on the same page. On 1 second. So I'm sure that you all have checked the website. So this is the World Urban Forum, November to 4th November to 8th November. It's a very busy week for those in TLUPS, right? Where we are having AMC 10A and 12A on November 6th, right? So this period is when we will be communicating our result one on research one's results in Cairo, right? We have already booked the exhibition hall, and we have a slot on, I believe, on 6th November to address a group, right? Who will be interested in what we are doing on sustainable urbanization when it comes to education, right? So we'll be talking to, I'm expecting around 200 to 300 educators in our room. Like we have been given a 3-hour slot. Plus this entire 4 to 8, we will have a exhibition hall, but still we will have to file in the application and get approved to make sure that our work is qualified for this work, right? Number one. So if you are looking at that this work will, Mosina and your team for the tournament work, I am expecting to present in JMM conference, So as I said, this is a high impact factor conference, highly academic, right? And we need to have, so please check it out, right? Application process is more rigorous. So I will be meeting with the JMM conference chairman on August 6th when at the MathFest conference, and I will get things, it will be a larger audience, very academic. So I'm expecting to do a poster like this, right? So let me bring up the Sadia. This is one of the posters we need to publish in our conference, right? In our magazine. Okay, so something like this is what will be present output, final output, where we will be talking about, we need to introduce our research, and abstract needs to be there, hypothesis needs to be there, methodology and findings needs to be there, right? So this is one of the last year JMM paper from our students, right? Something like this is the output expected in both, right? One of the output expected in both. So I'm jumping from one thing to another, right? So don't get too much worried about those things, right? So while I'm at that thing, let me show, this is one aptitude test I'm going to send. I have to record all the research interns, research aptitude, right? So this test is, I'm going to say, it's an online test, almost like your PhD entrance exam. So I will be sending it out to all who are involved in the research program. It is a requirement, and so this is required for even my like high school interns. So we will have a data on what is there. There is a pass mark, but that is for my getting into my guided doctoral work program. Like you need to qualify for 53, doesn't matter, but everyone needs to have a score of SE. And Sadia will be sending this probably sometime this week. I'll give her all the aptitude test link and everything. So when you start the test, you need to finish the test. So that is, I think this part is over. So some of the work will be given to, like, application process have two things. One is getting an approval at the conference. Number two is getting a funding approval, right? The funding approval will go through MA Press. So this is what I'm expecting to do by 6. So here my introductions are getting over, right? I will share all these links anyway. This will be shared, right? So this, please go to our YouTube channel, and there is a research video out there, and make sure that you are subscribing. And we are going to use our YouTube as Sadia and we were discussing, and Mosina, we have decided to use the studio as a tool to deliver our training program. So make sure that all of you are subscribing to our studio, our YouTube channel. And there is one video which was made in 2012. You guys are so young. How many of you were born in 2012? I'm just kidding. But so that old is our program, right? It's the introduction to research. A lot of things have changed after that. So that video, Sadi, I will share it with CD. Link up to our YouTube channel will be sent by Sadia. Make sure that you are subscribing and liking and getting all this YouTube. We don't have much of we have not promoted our YouTube channel actively, since we are going to create more content, move everything to YouTube. So we need to strengthen the YouTube studio. I mean, and the channel, right? To begin with, make sure that all of you are subscribing and actively interacting. You guys are very familiar with all these things. I am not. So make sure that you are working on that, right? So let me go through like a quick. So this is the actual research enrichment program we used to deliver, right? Like we are arguing that students reach higher education with limited training in certain core skills, including research, right? So that so the solution we proposed as enrichment, right? And focus on research, right? Core skills we need to create in creating the research specific skills, presentation and communicating skills, and academic writing skills and scientific competency, right? I will insist more on scientific competency, right? And focusing on that, right? So our courses will focus on research methodology. One or two, the course which I used to do, my lecture 1 and lecture 2, I'll run through today. But all these things will be shared, so that I'm expecting Mozilla to rework on that and create a new set of presentations so that we can deliver it as a proper course. We will go from research methodology to research design to research presentation and to publish. So while we are learning, we will have our high school interns and high school students, paid students coming into the program and going through all these things, right? And so this is, so mainly we are looking at the program, an active research program, research training program starting in September, and where the students can publish by Feb, right? So that's what, like, few of the conference, we will offer some research internships. The process, the conference, everything will be online courses. I don't know much about it, but my office is saying that the courses should be available on YouTube under a paywall, right? Most Sadia knows more about it, and she will be taking some classes later this week, right? So this is number one thing I wanted to run through. Sadia, I will share all these documents with you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the end, our students will be receiving the a certificate like this, which was awarded to one of my students, Baran Kochar later. We talked about that internship letter. So tomorrow, the contract tomorrow, before I leave, for tomorrow or day after, before I leave, all the contracts for the research officers and the research interns will be issued. Right? I need to send a copy of that to my team, right? So let me come to one. So this was one of the core thing which we used to do, as I said, like, what is our end result? So I am assuming, I'm thinking all of you guys, including Anil sir or Jayshree ma'am, and the youngest of the lot, the Sadia, who is like all of you guys are going through this particular program, right? Let us be, even though we are teachers and seniors, Jayshree ma'am and Anil sir, So let us shift our world view into that of a curious student, right? And try to relearn and unlearn few things and relearn a few things, why we should do research, what is like to do research, right? So, and I asked this question, I have a large set of document on that. I will send that to you. Normally, which I send it with a cartoon where I don't have, I couldn't find it today. This is something which is a PhD comic I picked up from the student, a new intern. I don't have it, but I'll explain. A new intern is asking a professor, a research sponsor, that, okay, so I have 8 to 10 hours a week. So when should I work? So the professor is saying, like, so that is 24/7, right? Even though on paper it is 8 to 10 hours, we are expecting, I mean, I'm just kidding, but that is the intensity of research. Because as I said earlier, we are just asking a question and going behind. There is no start date, there's no deadline, everything can go wrong. So we need to, so then I have a question here. You can see that the fourth question, what the heck I get if I go through this hell? I will say that my incentive has always been having a paper published. Each one will have other incentive. One of my colleagues always says that his incentive is traveling to remote locations and having a chill out time, right? So all these things are things, but more than that, like, I want to focus on this particular, can you see this? I'm not sure whether,
Yes, sir.
yeah, okay. So in that, like, this is actual research for young master students and young students like yourself. So research is not sitting and collecting data or analyzing. It has much more to that. If you are looking at domain A, this is a content. This is how what I used to follow earlier when I was teaching and when I was actually doing academic research. Right now, I am not. As you all know, I have retired, right? But if you are looking at, so the knowledge and intellectual abilities is one of the core domain you need to increase. Like each and every work you guys are going to do, increase the knowledge and intellectual abilities. So that is a domain. This is from Cambridge, right? We also follow, MA also follow this methodology, right? And domain B is personal effectiveness. The productivity matters, right? Not that come to me and say that, sir, I worked 10 hours. Who cares, right? What is your output? Output matters, right? So productivity matters, and that comes into personal effectiveness, right? So that is one thing we need to work on. Then comes to domain C. You can see that that is where actual research governance and organization comes in. So I'm assuming that Jayshree ma'am and Anil sir are going to contribute a lot on research governance and research organization, and you guys are going to coordinate. So research is not only about collecting. So I will go through some of the previous research I'm fascinated about and discuss about that. But keep this in mind: research governance and organization is required. Unfortunately, every research we need to go through, as I was explained yesterday, each and every research for me as an MA director, I need to go through ethical review committees, presentations, and a funding request. It's not like just to go and whims and fancies of a Kerala government minister and do a project. That is not. So this is, it involves several steps and research governance and organization. And then comes engagement, influence, and impact. So the work we are doing, we must, until and unless it is challenged in, it might go true for years and years. It will have impact. People will quote us. So we need to have that kind of a engagement, and our work can influence a lot of others, lot of other work. We need to be very serious about that, right? So earlier, this particular work, as you can see that research methodology training, then submit application, then visit Iowa City. That is where we used to do in 2012 to 2014, 2016. We used to run this program from Iowa City, where I used to teach there. But right now, then I moved out, then we have everything moved. Now we are offering this particular course in online and in our Trivandrum campus, right? So let me go into one. I'm boring you with everything. Let me go into an actual research. This is one of my core. So let me go into. So who knows about Martin Shuttleworth? Anyone? So he's a climate change activist, researcher, right? So I quoted him. So Sadia, someone like you can check him out and broadcast his thing. I'm just fascinated with his work. He's a journalist, activist, researcher, all combined together, right? I'm trying to be someone like that. But anyway, in the broadest, he argues that in the broadest sense of the word, definition of research includes gathering of data, information, fact for the advancement of knowledge. So we are doing this for advancement of knowledge, right? So let me go through. So this refers, what is scientific method? This refers to a technique. This is the course you can modify that when you are teaching high school students through our program. You can change this. This is my slide set, right? And partly prepared by my son, right? And the scientific. So we both collaborated in preparing this, right? This refers to the scientific method. Refers to a set of techniques in modern science used in the principle. I'm sure that I don't have to tell all these things to senior master students and senior teachers, right? But the formulate a question, a possible answer is what we are doing right now, the hypothesis, right? And extrapolate the consequences of that guess and make a prediction. We have made a prediction in research one that a student coming to an urban green enclave and taking some courses will help them to change their behavior, change their their academic path. We will influence that. So that is our prediction. We will test that experiment, and then we discuss the result in a simple manner. That is what a research is, right? This is what we looked at earlier. Ask the question, do the primary background research, construct a hypothesis. That is the stage we are in. Like we will rework on both research 1 and research 2. We will reconstruct the hypothesis. Then we will create an experiment and test with the experiment whether the procedure work or not. Yes or no. No, we go back to the experiment. If yes, we go into an analysis, analyze the data and draw conclusion. Then align that into our hypothesis and communicate result. If the experimental data and the background research, we go back to the hypothesis, right? So this is a simple process which we have. So the one thing which we need to remember, hypothesis is a theoretical concept, right? And in certain, sometimes that's the question asked by my son when we were preparing this, why do we even need a hypothesis, right? So when during the Darwin's time or things like that, the early stages of modern scientific development, hypothesis was an error. So you guys can teach all these things to young students, right? So I want to go into some scientific application of some scientific method. You all know Crick and Watson, right? Anyone here who don't know? So I was reading to an amazing research which came out yesterday on from Mayan culture, like they did the sequence of a gene sequencing of the people who were thrown, who were sacrificed during the Mayan time. They realized that it is not, earlier it was thought that it was a young woman, virgin woman being sacrificed, but now the new research shows that it is all young male, and interestingly they are twins. All their work is based out of Crick and Watson's work in 1962, Nobel Prize winning work, right? And so that is how. Sorry, I'm looking at the strong. What is the question? I'm not here to discuss Crick and Watson, but what is the question we need to? So I'm just giving you an idea for how you can do this class. This alone is a 90 minutes class on session on our enrichment program. One of you will have to deliver this when we have the students coming in. But Crick and Watson, what was the question they asked? What is the structure of DNA? What was the hypothesis? That DNA had a helical structure. What was their prediction? They predicted that DNA has a helical structure. When it hit with X-rays, you will have a specific X-ray shape. And they did the experiment, and the result, they were able to come with an X shape. That is when they proved that DNA has a helical structure, right? So this is their actual work, a part of their paper. I'm sure that all people sitting in front, other than Anil sir, are women. I'm sure that you all will be and should be excited about Rosalind Franklin, like one of the great minds ever humankind has produced, right? So when give me, like normally here I would say I give it to the student to come up with that will be an assignment. And since we are going to Cairo, like how can anyone forget about Al-Haytham, right? His work always fascinated me. He's a mathematician, philosopher, and Arab scientist, right? One of his most influential book is Book on Optics. That is what I want to discuss here. So the question, he did so many things, right? So many work, he's a poet himself, right? If anyone, I've been to Cairo, but I've never got a chance to visit his lab. It still is in university there, right? This time, whoever is coming with me, like if I'm going, I will definitely visit his laboratory, right? Anyway, like one of the questions he used is like look at the question he asked. How is it that we use our eyes? That is the question he was asking at that time. His hypothesis at that time was, at that time, people were thinking that the light used to be coming, it was inside our head, right? That is how we can see things, right? But he proved that light enters our eyes from other sources and travels in straight line. And he look at his prediction, look at his experiment. His experiment was cool, right? He stood Al-Haytham in 9th century, stood in a dark room with two small holes that allowed the lights of two nearby lamps to come through. When the lanterns are covered, the spots of light created also became dark. So that is how he proved that light is not created in our eyes, but it enters our eyes, right? Amazing people. Think about it. Think about Alexander Fleming. What was his observation? Like the mold, you all know, this is basic high school stuff. I'm not going deep into that. But when you are teaching a class, go through this, or you can add any other thing. Remember the silly application of the research we were thinking the other day? Why does my hotel room smell, right? Hypothesis, we discussed this as a fridge problem. Leftover food in fridge is causing trouble. Prediction is remove an old chicken from a fridge, throw it away, eliminate the order. Experiment is remove the food and smell the room. If that experiment is working, the result is the hotel room is not smelling. Conclusion, smelliness of the room is caused by the food. Right? This is a silly example. So I have few more silly examples. Is it raining outside? Is my friend angry with me? This is something which I used to have nearly 20 minutes of discussion with my students when I'm taking this class. But anyway, I'm not going deep into that. Like, I have, I want to jump into another. So the question is, I hope that during that kind of, I have lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 3, or I can show you the entire course structure here. Okay, so the course 1 is the introduction, the one which the slide set I ran is the introduction class. Then comes ideas and history and ethics of research. We need to go deep into ethics of research, what data we can collect, how securely we can, it all applies to our research 1 and research 2. So we can put that in, right? I have 3 more minutes. I might take another 10 minutes. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So we will go into, okay, thank you. So ideas, history, ethics of research will be the first actual lecture. Then we go into structure of research, then review of literature. So what I'm proposing is, while we are doing research 1 and research 2, let us offer this course. We will recruit interns and we will run a research internship program, and we will do a research delivery also. Research delivery. Am I an idiot to think all these things can go together? But I believe that we can pull it off with amazing, committed young people like you, including someone like Jayashree ma'am, right? She is younger than us, right? With her spirit and energy. But anyway, so lecture 3 is actually delivered by Dr. Betsy, right? So she will talk about her experience in doing the research. That was I believe that Dr. Betsy had a cancer. She's a cancer survivor. I'm talking about what we used to deliver in 2020. 4 years have gone. I believe that she should be available to talk to our students and you guys, right? And then we will have Dr. Dominic has confirmed that she will be working, and then fundamental statistics, and you guys can easily, I have the content. I will not share that content. You can create your own content, right? You guys should be very good at that, right? And then we'll go into application and conclusion. So what I'm arguing is that, we are going to have a series of things going together, exciting our AMC students come into our research program, recruit some young interns, and do a couple of research, offer a course, and go to this conference. This pretty intense work till next January, right? Or this entire academic year, right? It will be very exciting. I hope that I can be a part and parcel of all this work. I'll be leaving on 27th. I'm expected to be back, say mid-July, right? Maybe late July. Then I will go and come back, but I'll publish my travel plan. It can always change. But this particular one, this is one of the things I talk always in international schools, and it's a part of my another course, navigating the minefield of university prep, or what we call in common layman term, study abroad, right? Doesn't matter who really I am. So I will always talk about, this is one of my last presentation, but the curious people, the researchers, one thing what we need to be this is something which I always try to recode when it comes to Albert Einstein. You guys all know that I'm a big fan of Einstein and his work and the Curie. But this quote, I'm fascinated, right? He says that I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious, right? So every researcher should be, I am encouraging you all to become passionately curious about everything, right? About everything. Why? And have fun with the work, right? So how can you look at, are you a curious person, right? I have several videos, several things. When I will record this and give it. So some basic ideas. Do you love to learn? I'm getting a call, sorry. Is that right? Do you love to learn? So for an old man, a 60-year-old like me, like I'm continuously learning, right? I've been learning today on how to create how to become a YouTube creator, right? So constantly learn. Do you love to learn, right? Do you live to solve problems, right? Questions never scare you. You will talk about anything. Virtually nothing bores you. If you are these five, you are immensely curious, right? You can question everything. You don't mind putting extra hours, self-motivated. You keep positive and naturally empathetic, right? You love to achieve and are creative. So that's the desire to learn, right? I am arguing this in a university prep context, right? What is required, how to do that, and how can you demonstrate it. So I will share this with Sadia. Sadia, you can share with everyone. This can be another course you can work with me beyond research. If everything goes well, I'll be bringing back my my course on navigating the minefield of university prep, like in you from behind a YouTube paywall. Something. So I will create more content. Like Sadia is going to help all of us, including me, on creating that content. That is her role. Mosina will be the coordinator of research, and she will allocate all these resources. And you guys then be will be actually doing the work, right? Dividing job, but never make sure that you are not going beyond an 8-hour to 10-hour per week of work, right? But productive work. Like when you are sitting and working, concentrate and do that. Don't try to multitask. When it comes to research, it can be fatal, right? But anyway, so I believe that I've covered everything. Let me quickly check this. Sorry, I took a little bit more time than I expected. So this is my one of the slides which you have, how to do literature review. This is the work which you have to do right now, right? For research 1 and research 2, I gave a list of the work. So we need to sit and read through each and every previously published work around our research. For R1 and R2, research 1 and research 2, I have published a list of literature previously published work you need to go through. So we will go through what are the like the purpose and significance, how to do literature review, like validity of the sources you need to check. Basically sit and read each and every work, divide among each other and read each and every work, and then present this work into a literature review, which can be published so that we can meet. So we can share what, say, a paper one person, Ashwini is reading paper 2, Mosina is reading paper 3, I am reading. We come together and share our experience, and finally we publish a literature review, a lit review as a document, right? So that is also a. So what I'm proposing, what I'm thinking is, all 3 things we will do together. We will announce a course, recruit students for a research program, high school student, and we will offer an internship program. So we will run an internship program, and we will do 2 actual research and publish those work. Sounds exciting, not big, not much of a work. If we organize ourselves and plan everything carefully, it will be exciting and interesting. So I think I am done. Anybody, I have 5 more minutes, or anybody have any questions at this point of time?
No, sir, it's almost clear.
Sadia, okay, go ahead. No questions, okay. So I will record and I will upload it into YouTube, and all these documents I went through and all the website I demonstrated here will be available I'll put it on I'm learning that I can put it below my video. I will try to do that, and I'll publish the work before the start of next week. That is by Tuesday, 9 o'clock, right? And Sadia will be having all the set of documents. She will hold it, she will keep it very, very secure. And all the content we created here is the work of several people. So don't, take all the work by others very seriously and rework on that. Okay, then. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So good evening. Good evening, Syamji.
Yes, go ahead.
See, Anil sir is there. If he has any questions, let him ask. Anil sir is there.
Anybody, any question? Anyone have any question? This is a good time to ask. I am available for another 5 minutes.
Some problems, some disturbances while attending the meeting. So I expect that all these were recorded and will send it to our WhatsApp link.
Yeah. So I will put that into, Sadia will be putting this into a YouTube with all the links, all the sources, all the content into the on the YouTube, and all the documents I demonstrated here should be available with Sadia. But YouTube should be, if what I learned today, if I'm able to put it, I think by the end of the day tomorrow, I will have everything on a YouTube link.
And another suggestion from my part is that if we can create a WhatsApp group for doing discussions and all these things, a common group.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So
that's also, Sadia can be the admin.
Yeah, Sadia can be the
admin.
Yeah, Sadia can be, and Mosina will also get more involved, right?
Okay.
And we are promoting her to a more senior role. She will be spending, all other interns will be spending 8 hours a week. Mosina will be spending a little bit more time. She will be a contact point for all of us. She will be, and Sadia will be supporting Mosina.
Okay.
So Mosina, that part, how the work can be communicated, Sadia and Mosina, you guys discuss, take all the numbers and everything and make sure that we can create a secure conversation area.
Okay. That's our suggestion from my part.
Sure. Anyone else have any question?
So am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, ma'am.
So the work, actually you are giving an orientation, and we were able to meet the co-participants also. So the next, till the next meeting, what exactly we have to do?
Basic, I would encourage you to, you start shifting into a research mind, right? Number 1. Number 2 is that I believe that I made that argument strongly today, right? And 2 is read the the literature which we have given, right? So once we have the basic thing, then we can go back to the drawing board and start working on the hypothesis, right? And structuring it, tightening it, and then start thinking about creating that experiment. For research one, Jayashree ma'am and Anil sir, you guys are involved, so we will have an opportunity to have an experiment done in transitions lab location on on June 24th or 25th, where the students are going to come and the content needs to be delivered, right? So answering your question, Jayashree ma'am, like other than doing the literature review, tightening the hypothesis and creating that experiment, we need to go back to the 3 courses which we offered in February. Mosina have all those things that I told them to create. That is their responsibility to create lesson plans for each one of them and document that. And then we need to work on the questionnaire, right? Which we need to administer for the students and teachers and parents before they are coming here and while taking the course and medicine and how we. So it's a 3-step process. 1, learn and get excited ourselves. 2, to do the literature review and prepare for the experiment. So specifically, lesson plan, 3 courses which we offered in Feb can be reworked, documented, and offered on 24th or 25th when the students are coming. So that will be our experiment 1. Then the questionnaire. I will focus more on creating the questionnaire and I will share it. So I'm traveling this week, but I will be able to create the questionnaire and will be sharing it through Sadia. So it is going to be a little bit crazy, but everything will, it's like, I always discuss with Mosina, like this, our work is just like Ambalamukka Junction, where all the, it's so much complicated. The bus will come, 2 traffic people are there, like everyone, lights are there, but no one will obey anything. It will go like this. But in the end, everything will calm down. And nothing will happen. The traffic will flow, right? People will, there can be a little bit frustration as in Ambalamukka Junction. If you are in a bike, especially, right? But everything should be all right. So Mosina is highly experienced in all these things and very focused. She will coordinate all of us. Mosina, do you have an exam this week?
No, sir.
Okay. So you can spend the time and maybe you can create for research 1. When is your research 2 experiment, mini MPL? When are you having that next one?
We are planning to conduct one soon, maybe next month or next month or this month, this month last week.
Oh, okay. So that will be your second. So you prepare us, all of us, towards 2 experiments. One is a set of students coming here, and then your mini MPL, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you prepare a guideline and spread it through our WhatsApp group. Do you have the number of Jayashree ma'am and Anil sir?
I don't have the number of Anil sir. I have Jayashree ma'am's number.
Okay. So Sadia, please share the details with Mosina.
Will do, sir.
Okay. So my system is reminding me that my sleep time has come. So I sleep at 8:50, but I have a guest, so I will be a little bit late today.
Okay, sir.
Okay, then. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay,
Thank
bye-bye.
you.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
Right, sir.
Bye.